President Trump reacting to the news at his rally in Wisconsin last night.
My highest duty, as you know, as president, is to keep America safe. Any acts or threats of political violence are an attack on our democracy itself. We want all sides to come together in peace and harmony. The media also has a responsibility to set a civil tone and to stop the endless hostility and constant negative and oftentimes false attacks and stories.
All right, we'll take it around the table. Pam, could we start with you? Just Trace Gallagher saying that we can confirm now that they're honing in on Florida as a possible place where these packages were sent from. What can you tell us?
Well, without details specifically to Florida, as a career prosecutor, I've seen so many of these cases with suspicious packages, and there is a wealth of information, Dana, in these packages you wouldn't believe. I mean, even the duct tape. I've had a murder case. We got to print off a duct tape. Stamps that you used to lick. Now we have touch DNA. So if they even touched the stamp, we could get DNA off the stamp. As to the post office, we can even get the origin as to where it came. And I think they're working on all that. Was it well planned? Yes and no. Yes, in that they all went out simultaneously. However, no, in that, names were spelled wrong. Some of the addresses we know were wrong and got returned to sender.
You think that could have been on purpose, though?
Maybe. But I know that they know a lot more than we know, and that's how it should be right now. And I really have no doubt that they will catch this person, and very fast. I saw the president yesterday at the White House, and he was so somber. You saw him at the. He was so somber, and very seriously, everyone's taking this, and FBI's all over it.
Greg, let me go to you then, and the ongoing conversation. You saw any of the activity this morning down there?
Yeah, well, I don't know what time it was, but I'm a few blocks from there, so I woke up to the helicopters that were, I guess, above me for at least a few hours. Wow. And I got up and I told my wife, I go, something's happening. It's definitely downtown, and and then it went on for like a couple of hours, and found out it was at his restaurant.
What did you think of the conversation today that was inevitable about President Trump, his tone, him saying that the media needs to watch its tone?
Well, it is. With all of these things, you're going to get finger pointing. And I think the thing is, everybody can point their fingers depending on what group you belong to. And so it's natural. It's hard for me to take advice from the media over heated rhetoric, because if you were to subtract the heated rhetoric of Trump, let's say the caustic behavior, the jokes about sleepy eyes and lock him up, if you took that all away, right, and said, like, Trump didn't even exist, you would still have speakers on campus being harassed. You'd still have Antifa chasing down people on streets. You'd still have politicians inciting face-to-face harassment. You'd have Kathy Griffin, Johnny Depp, Madonna. They did all their stuff early on before a lot of this stuff. You have Mika obsessing over the 25th Amendment. So it's all, and you have weird, at times, people defending Antifa. So essentially, you've had 2 years of questioning Trump's sanity, calling him Hitler. And you're upset because he made a joke about a body slam. It doesn't work for me.
No. It does. I think that the left feels differently, Juan. I don't know if you've heard from anyone today.
Yeah, I think the left feels like, it's sort of difficult moment for all of us. It's a very divided country right now, and I think it's kind of sad that we have reached this point. But I think people on the left are kind of taken aback that the president last night seemed to be more presidential and saying, you know what, we need to unify. We need to come together. You can't attack political opponents. And then this morning, he shifts again, as you were suggesting to Greg, and says, hey, the mainstream media needs to clean up its act in terms of setting the tone. The response has been pretty clear from Jeff Zucker at CNN, the head of CNN, and others, saying that the tone is really set by the politician, by the president. And this is a president who has talked about, Second Amendment people taking care of Hillary and body slamming reporters, the press is the enemy. I can go on. I mean, everybody knows this litany, even down to Charlottesville, with fine people on both sides. So I think that there's a sense that, really, his instinct is to be a combative president, and that, in fact, as a political strategy approaching the midterms, he sees the division as firing up his base. And I think a lot of people are just worried that we can't, as an American people, keep going down this path without respecting I mean, even, dare say, loving each other as fellow Americans.
Last week in the NBC Wall Street Journal poll, 90% of Americans said that we are the most divided that we've ever been.
Yeah.
So we actually agree on something, at least.
I guess.
But the conversation that we could have about rhetoric could have happened without these suspicious packages.
That's true. It's been boiling up for a long time. And just talking about tone, as Juan brought up, look at our table. And we make fun of Crooked Hillary, and we say Pocahontas, and we make fun of Spartacus, and we...
That's just you.
That's true. And we go after people's policies, and we mock them if they're being deceitful and what have you. But I don't think anybody at this table says, this person is a Nazi.
Right.
This person hates other ethnic groups. I want to see this political opponent, I want to see harm done to that person. And I think we're pretty responsible at that table. Remember when Steve Scalise was shot by a Bernie bro? No one at this table blamed Bernie Sanders. And Bernie
Or Rachel Maddow. We didn't blame
Rachel
her.
Maddow and Bernie Sanders himself never accepted responsibility. Pelosi never accepted responsibility when people raised questions about Democratic rhetoric. And Greg laid it out perfectly. I mean, the list is long. People's ribs have been cracked. People have tried to be stabbed. Cars have been firebombed. Anthrax and ricin has been sent around. And you look at people like Kathy Griffin or Snoop Dogg or Hillary Clinton the other day saying, we don't have to be civil. Sometimes we have to be uncivil. We don't ever make Democrats accessories to the crimes politically. What the left is doing now is they're trying to make Donald Trump an accessory to these attempted mail bombings and saying, you're an accessory, and therefore you need to stop attacking the media and you need to stop attacking Democrats before the midterm elections. And I don't think he has a responsibility to do that. I agree. Trump talks tough sometimes. Sometimes it's too tough. A lot of the times he's being tongue-in-cheek, and the media has no sense of humor, and they don't get that. But I agree, sometimes he does cross the line. But when you're slamming someone in a video, or, you're going like this, and you're mocking someone and get punched at a protest, it's a little different than when the media calls you a mentally ill Nazi that needs to be taken out, or fetishizes your son being raped. I agree everybody needs to come together, but both sides need to look in the mirror, especially the media.